It's the MythWits, a geek pop culture web series, broadcast live for video and audio podcasts. Watch us live at MythWits.com and find us on YouTube and iTunes, bringing you news and reviews about geek pop culture. We have comedy skits, play nerd-tastic games, and provide extensive on-location con coverage.
What's going on, guys? It's Brian and Nick from the MythWits here with Kyle Hebert at A-Kon 25, and we're here just talking shop. How's it going, Kyle?
Excellent. I just got out autographs and, boy, my arm's tired. No, not really. I'm just used to doing it. But there were a lot of people here today.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's amazing how this con has grown over the last, 5-6 years?
5 or 6 years. Oh, my God. It's been here for 25, but,
Well,
it's one of the oldest cons in the country, and it was really a testament to the fans, of course, and the wonderful staff who've helped blossom into the awesome juggernaut that it is.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, I mean, this is a session of talking shop, so let's talk some shop.
Do it.
Everyone knows you as a wonderful, wonderful man in the voiceover industry.
Well, thank you very much.
Of course. I mean, we had a very interesting start. We got to meet prior to this, helping you out with some stuff.
Oh, yeah. See, if you're a voice actor, you're expected to pack a USB mic wherever you go, because you never know when those auditions will creep in. It's like, this is time sensitive, we need it by this afternoon. Like, oh. And then I tweet about it, because that's what you do. You just sit there and bitch and moan on social media, and then some people are like, I can help. This dude right here, he's like, I got this microphone, I'm going to bring it to the con, you want me? And he said it just like that. And so I said, I got to use this guy because he talked like this, he's like strong bad, but
Yes, the email,
But the email.
Yeah.
The email.
So, we actually got to hang out at your Geek Talk panel.
Yes.
And it was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
I gotta admit, I actually had a lot of fun going upstage and helping you out with the Pac Rim Godzilla crossover.
Well, yes. Pacific Rim and Godzilla need to happen. That needs to be a crossover. That needs to happen.
Get on it, Legendary. But yeah, so I guess for those who didn't attend the panel, I guess we can just start talking about some of our favorite movies. And we always like to ask, everyone has seen at least one 80s movie.
Sure.
What's your favorite 80s movie? We'll go along the whole
80s movie.
Favorite 80s movie.
Oh man, one that just strikes just tears of nostalgia is Tron. The first
Jeff
Tron.
Bridges. That was a good one.
Yeah, that came out in 81, 82, and it was very little fanfare. That movie was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
One of the first movies to have some sequences in CG, and that whole virtual reality thing was like an alien concept to most mainstream movie viewers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what'd you think of the sequel that came out?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I adore it. I know it's a totally different vibe than that cheesy 80s thing, but I mean, everything from the characterization, the acting, the music, the mood, the visuals.
Love that song.
Oh God, yeah. I can't wait for a third Tron, because now we got to see if you can bring Olivia Wilde's character into this world. It's like, that's an intriguing concept.
Up right there.
It does.
So what about you, Nick? Favorite 80s movie?
Well, there's a lot of them and stuff. Has some pretty good films, but one that I've really liked, that personal favorite, was American Werewolf in London. Came out
John
in 81.
Landis, yeah.
John
Beautiful,
Landis.
beautiful,
And,
great.
it was I liked how most of the scenes were just shot right then and there, unscripted. It was just them talking, walking, and then no, we're being attacked.
Yeah, make it natural. That all that stuff just felt very great, and that was the heyday for John Landis movies. He had come off one of my all-time favorite movies ever. It's also 1980s, 1980, Blues Brothers.
Blues Brothers, yes.
He also did Animal House, didn't he?
And Animal House in '78,
Yeah, John Belushi.
Him doing, it's really a comedy, American Werewolf in
Yeah, it's
London.
a dark comedy.
It's a dark
Loved
comedy.
especially the theater scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The theater scene. I think my favorite scene was the scene in the subway, though.
That's pretty epic.
It wasn't really funny, but it was pretty scary. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Intense.
I was 10 years old, had nightmares for 6 months.
Even just the wolf howl as they're getting lost on the moors and everything. It's like, that is the scariest sounding wolf ever.
Yeah.
When I first got it, I was 10 years old back in the late 90s.
Yeah.
I got the cover was completely misleading. I thought it was going to be some cheesy weird guy in some ape costume. I was like, oh boy, was I wrong. I saw that transformation scene.
This isn't Lon Chaney. This is not Lon Chaney
Not so
in yak
much.
hair.
And then he goes on to do these dancing, singing Dr. Pepper commercials. David
Yeah.
Duncan.
That transformation scene still is pretty legendary.
Rick Baker's a genius.
Rick Baker is a genius.
Rick Baker, he did Thriller, right?
I believe
Rick
so.
Baker also.
I think he
yeah.
did the production work on Thriller as well. Let's see, 80s movie for me. It's hard. I'm tied between. It's both Arnold flicks, Conan or Predator. I'm like,
Conan was.
I gotta
first
go.
Conan.
I gotta go with Conan, the first Conan with
Okay.
Thulsa Doom. I just loved Robert Howard's work. You know, when I was a kid, especially when my parents came here to America, they didn't really know what to show their children.
Mhm.
And for me, that's like, oh well, he's our only son. Let's show him stuff kids in America likes, it, which was Spawn comics, Conan, and Godzilla movies, and you know, watching that, it was great. And of course, it's like some of those practical scenes you always remember, especially the giant snake in the pit.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, and then of course the orgy scene when Thulsa Doom, James Earl Jones turns into a snake.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that scene. I mean, and God, just the final fight in the rocks when he prays to Crom. Just that monologue alone is just amazing.
Oh, totally. Totally.
Yeah.
There's some great stuff in there, and I know that I think Arnold wants to come back to Conan.
Well, he is getting back in shape, which is good to
Yeah.
see someone like him. Yeah. But I love the whole sword and sorcery genre. That's just something that always inspired me in my writing. It's just always just so metal about it. You know, I loved it.
Do you like The Sword and the Sorcerer? Remember that movie from
Yeah.
81? Yeah, Lee Horsley.
Yep, Lee Horsley. I mean, just some of those movies are so great, especially like movies that use camera tricks like Excalibur.
Yeah.
Oh, I liked
That's
Excalibur.
Norman, yeah,
movies
that-
like that just
that's
prove you
magical.
don't. It's amazing.
And Beastmaster, the
Yes.
movie that just aired over and over on cable.
Yeah.
You see Tanya Roberts just stand up and like, oh, look at those eyes of hers. But no, it's just so good. And like Rip Torn and
Yeah, Rip Torn. God, but so pretty much. So you know, regarding your voice work, a lot of people know you for narrating DBZ. Obviously, also playing Ryu.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because I'm an aspiring actor. I've taken some courses, and I recently talked to you that I had some interviews with Funimation. I can't say for what shows, but
sure.
it was always kind of fun. Before I auditioned at Funimation, I actually started doing those fan productions. I just, hey, I'm looking for work, getting some practice. And I met this guy named Kyle, another Kyle, and he's doing the Street Fighter project. And I auditioned, I did some lines, and it was kind of funny. He messaged me back and he said, I think I got some characters for you. I said, oh, great, what? First he said, I want you to be my Dudley. And I was like, okay, Dudley's kind of fun. And then I said, oh, but there's one more. I said, okay, well, what is it? And it was Akuma. So that was always kind of fun. And what's weird is I'm like, huh. And I've always wanted to bring this up. I'm like, if I ever meet Kyle, I got to mention this because, you're Ryu, and now I'm essentially a fan actor for Akuma.
Okay.
Which was always kind of fun.
Yeah.
But it was just a little plug I just had to mention it. So obviously, Battle of the Gods is coming out in theaters in August, and you and a lot of the old crew are getting back together about it. I just got to get your info on how excited are you for that?
Pretty stoked because it's been a year since it's been out in Japan. It just seems like a no-brainer, especially with social media. People are on there. It's like, come on, let's get the rights. And
Pretty much.
For all this time, I think 20th Century Fox actually had international rights, and I guess they worked it out. So
Yeah.
Because they did wonders with Evolution. But yeah.
At least it wasn't the last Airbender.
No, I know. I couldn't even make it through 10 minutes of that.
I walked out.
I was into actual denial when I watched it. I don't know what movie I saw when I went to the theaters and watched it, but it definitely wasn't M. Night Shyamalan's last Airbender. I invented something in my head. It's like, wow, yeah.
And the irony is that movie did great box office because I think everyone wanted to go see a train wreck, and boy, did they get it.
Yeah. God, the minute I saw the movie, I walked down, then I went home, and I got on Netflix and I put up the show, and I just sat there saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I just started watching those shows because, God, the source material was there. I mean, my red flag went up when they mispronounced Aang.
Yeah.
I'm like,
All in the Avatar.
I'm just like,
Avatar.
oh, no.
I think he was just afraid he was going to get sued by James Cameron because of Avatar.
There's that.
Because he did have to
Yeah.
change. He was going to call it, Avatar, Last Airbender, or Legend of Aang, and James Cameron didn't make him change title because he was coming out with Avatar.
Yeah.
Just that December before that summer.
Yeah.
That's true.
But it still was in fact good. I mean, I thought the dude watched the show, but I don't think he did.
Yeah, I don't know if he wrote the screenplay. I know him
He
directed.
He wrote, directed, and produced. He
Oh,
did, he
okay.
did all of it. There's
So it's all.
It is.
And it's all his fault.
It's all his fault.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Then there's really no excuse.
There's no
Nope.
excuse.
So regarding Street Fighter, I'm assuming you do play some fighting games since on your panel you mentioned you got an Xbox One and a PS4.
Oh yeah. I'd my favorite actually is Soul Calibur. Some of the older ones.
Yes, Edgemaster, all that stuff.
I
loved
I
it.
played the original. I think it may have been Soul Blade, but Soul Calibur on Dreamcast. I go back to Dreamcast, and then I played the one with Spawn on the original Xbox.
Yeah.
Love that one, and then Soul Calibur 3 was like meh, and then 4 came back around,
And 5.
5, which I'm actually in as a custom voice.
Yeah.
I was a fan of 2 for the PlayStation 2.
Okay, yeah.
That's funny. We each have a version. I have the GameCube one.
I had the
got
PS2.
PlayStation 2 and the
and
Xbox,
Xbox.
which is always kind of cool.
Kind of one of them all.
So I wanted to mention. So they announced the new Mortal Kombat game. It's coming out
Yes.
next year.
And I'm excited for that.
You excited?
I like some Mortal Kombat. I mean, that's the fun. It's just watching the massive,
Yeah.
all the deaths, and just
Get
hold the
over
spine
it.
out. Yeah,
I love
it's
that.
great. That's another fighting series I auditioned for, but I didn't get to be a part of. So that's okay. I really can't complain. I'm in Street Fighter.
Yeah.
And Soul Calibur.
I mean, speaking of which, that got you into Wreck-It Ralph.
That did. That did. The coolest, the proudest achievement I have in this career is like 2 lines in a Disney movie. But
Yeah.
it's a really awesome Disney movie.
It's kind of funny because I do have similar aspirations as I grow into an actor to actually take part in like a DreamWorks movie or a
Yeah.
Disney movie. That's something I've always wanted. Whenever it's kind of weird. As soon as I started doing fan stuff and I've gotten auditions, people started following me, and it's weird. I'm building my own little minion army, and they're asking me all these questions. And one guy asked me, I'm having an audition at Funimation. What do I need to do to prepare? And I just said, read Joel McDonald's tweets. Just read those tweets, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. Before I wanted to do voice work, I did my homework. I've read 3 books on the industry. I've taken acting classes. I'm still enrolling in classes. It's in the title, guys. Voice actor or actress. You have to take these acting courses to get the tools and fundamentals. And it's funny because my professor at the community college in Cullen County, she taught Jeremy Lee, one of the funniest top actresses, and I think she's doing some stuff for Shameless right now.
Cool.
As well. And then I think Laura Bailey was a student down there as well. But I got another movie related question. It's something that I always like to ask people. Was there ever a movie that made you cry?
I cried like a baby in E.T. I did. I'll admit it. Yeah.
All right, Nick, fess up. What movie made you cry? It's all right, Nick. It's just the internet.
I don't think I've actually cried in a movie. I did cry at the end of the first Kingdom Hearts, but that's it.
All right.
I guess it's mostly cinematic, so I guess we can count that.
It's yeah.
It's a Disney game.
Yeah.
The intro sequence to Up.
Oh
Was
yeah.
the first part of Up. The only other time I cried was in Winter Soldier with Carter. And it turns out she has Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was too real. I almost swelled up for a minute. I was like, jeez.
Up didn't catch me off guard. I kind of knew from the start. Like when as soon as I sat in the row, I was like, okay, who's Disney gonna kill in this movie? And we're like, oh, right at the beginning. This was why.
That was
Nailed
just the funny thing.
it.
It's like, oh, you think we're gonna do it at the end? Now we're gonna do it at the beginning. It's
Disney
like,
has
gut
this
punch.
thing. It's like there's always
There's a reason
one
he's a grumpy old man.
member of a couple that's gone. Where's Ariel's mom? Where's
Andy's dad.
Andy's dad? Yeah, Toy Story 3 was another one where I'm like, oh, there's something in my eye.
I don't know. That one did kind of like I was like watching like wow.
He admitted it. He showed weakness.
Yeah.
That hit me a little close to home.
Well, Toy Story
Yeah.
2, Jesse, the whole song about
Yeah.
getting left behind. Like, oh.
Yeah, Pixar, when it came to that franchise, they were very smart when they would release the sequels, especially
Yeah.
the third one, because I remember I was about literally Indy's age watching it in the theaters.
Yeah, 95.
95.
Yeah, I saw it in
And
95.
that's the thing I love about Disney and Pixar. You know, they're smart about their marketing when they put these movies out. I mean, to be honest, talking about Disney, there's they're doing a comic book movie, Big Hero 6,
Yeah.
based off the smaller Marvel comic,
Yeah.
which looks really interesting.
Mhm.
You know, I'm still kind of digging into that, and then of course we talked about Guardians of the Galaxy for a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
That's gonna be so sweet.
I know.
I mean, just because they just announced who's playing Thanos finally.
Mhm.
It's Josh Brolin
Mhm.
and that's gonna be interesting. I mean, what do you guys think about Josh Brolin playing Thanos? You think he could do it?
He's a solid actor.
We love you, Josh.
He pulled off that fantastic Tommy Lee Jones impression.
Yes, that's
in
what I
Black
loved
3.
about it. How
He's
do you know
great
my
in
name?
Sin City. And how you know my name? Yeah.
That was just great. But I think it'll do a good job. So I was actually kind of curious. In my current living situation, I live in an apartment, new place. Luckily, they got a walk-in closet, and my father, being very supportive of what I want to do, he works at this HP building, and he took all the packing foam from the packing department.
Ooh.
I literally you could fill a pickup truck full of foam, and I could make a padded room. It's kind of creepy out of context, but you know.
But foam costs a lot.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, and it's not like acoustic foam, but it's that solid foam for electronics and stuff, and these are huge. Like, you know, I was sitting down, and then one day I hear a knock, you know, and I'm like, who is it? And all of a sudden, bags of foam start flying at me. It's like, here you go. There's for your studio. And I'm like, thanks.
Nah, no, that's
So,
great.
That was always fun. I was always curious, have you ever had to do recording stuff like in an apartment complex?
Oh, I do. I mean, I live in an apartment in LA, in Burbank, and I recently had the kitchen floors, that's where I'm at, like the dining room area. Kitchen floors got renovated, now have wood floors. So now it's a little more like this, but not quite as bad, where the room,
Yeah.
you know, it just bounces off the wall. So then I invested. It's pretty steep, but it seems to work pretty well. It's called a Chaotica eyeball. It's a
I
sphere
heard
of
about
foam.
that. My friend Roy, who's another acting colleague, showed me that, and
Yeah.
I think Liam O'Brien recently got one. He was testing it out.
Maybe.
I remember. I think you and another EA was talking about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's something I was actually considering because
It doesn't totally remove noise, but it does help.
It does
And,
help.
Yeah, I have loud neighbors and all that, so I just
Same.
gotta wait. My fridge is behind when I record, so when that clicks on, it's like, nah, you can hear it.
yeah,
Or the AC, you definitely gotta shut that off. Or if the laundromat's going, then you can hear we have stackable washer and dryer in the unit,
Yeah.
so and if you hear the neighbors, you know, it's like,
it's something like this. You know.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
They're dancers upstairs, so they're practicing routines, and it's just like all wood floors up there. I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, I completely understand and agree because, I mean, I haven't heard much from my downstairs neighbors, but every once in a while, like really late at night, it's loud thumping and stomping, but luckily I like the setup for the closet. And what's good, I mean, even though it has those built-in racks, I can easily just put foam on top of that, and I even have a place to just put my mic
Mhm.
right there and the laptop underneath. So, I mean, it works.
Yeah, and people think they have to drop thousands of dollars on a home studio. That's great if you can,
Or
but
build a
most of us
whisper room.
don't. The whisper room, yeah, it's going to run you.
Like
You know, if you go to
$7.
Home Depot, you're going to still.
Not even that, like, I've seen people sell kits to make one, they're like 10 grand.
Oh
You know,
God,
like, I know.
yeah.
I think Chris Sabat got something similar to that. And that was like 5 or 6 grand, like the model he talked about. And
You can
know.
throw a lot of money at it, but there's also, I mean, you can do the ghetto version.
Yeah.
If you can go to your closet, you got all this free soundproofing there, like boxes and clothes.
Yeah.
Pillow for it.
And pillow
Pillow
fort in the
forts.
hotel, which is what we
Beddings,
did
yeah.
with the whole setup of the audition. I go in these guys' room, record there into the pillow, and it absorbed the sound, even with the louder fight sounds and stuff that I had to do on this audition today. It gets the job done.
Yeah. I mean, that's just it. That's some of the misconceptions, especially when it comes to a lot of the pros that think, oh wow, they're just one-hit wonders. They get those lines down in one take. It's like, no. Take it from me. I've auditioned at Funimation several times. You have to do several reads. And, you know, don't beat yourself up whenever you are having trouble with a line. I mean, when I did the Street Fighter fan that was Akuma, I mean, it's Akuma. My throat was wrecked by the time I was done with the session. I mean, I had to hit one of his, essentially for his stand-up, we kind of went through all of his attacks and his cries, his taunts, and and we've done them all. And there was it was one of his Japanese attacks, and God Almighty, I have bit my tongue and gone over and over, like 15 takes. We spent like an hour on that one line, but like I said to his people who are aspiring to this, don't beat yourself up if you can't get this in a few takes. It's hard. Obviously you agree with that.
Oh yeah. You have nowadays you're expected as a voice actor to be able to record at home, which means you're self-directing. You don't have someone in a booth telling you more like this, more like that. So on top of having to be a good cold reader and improviser and a good actor, giving a consistent performance and juggling all of that, you also have to play director and interpret what the writer's intent is and hope that what you record and send off via email is what the client's looking for.
I mean, there are times, not every director does this, but they will do this via Skype. They'll have a live Skype call and then you do the recording, everything yourself. I mean, that's what I had to do with my projects. I mean, that does happen occasionally. Sometimes you'll be lucky and have a director that will walk with you through Skype or Google Hangout. But, you're right, you do have to multitask. I mean, you thought multitasking in the booth was hard with your copy, the director, and especially dubbing. You have the original clip here, your copy here, your director here. You have to just pay attention. Now you have to play director as well. And when I started going to these acting courses and learning a lot of the basics, I gave myself a little code or a little system, and I call it the P's of acting. It's 4 P's. If you can't do these 4 P's, you're going to have a hard time, or you just cannot be an actor, and that's professionalism, persistence, patience, and play. Those 4 things are simple to know, but they're hard to master. Right. And play can be the hardest one, especially when you want to do anime or Western animations. When you want to do this, you have to learn how to say yes. You have to accept the world, accept the character, even if it's so far-fetched. You have to say yes to this, and then that's when you can start using your tools and commit to it, which is what my acting professor, Gail Crownauer, she would drill into our heads, is to commit to the tool. Sure. And of course, CYA, cover your ass. Those were the 2 big things she taught us, was commit to the tool, even if you only know the basics, because just committing to those basic tools will yield good results. And then of course, cover your ass. I mean, that's what he did. He tweeted, "Oh crap," and then bam, we covered your ass.
My ass be covered, yo.
Epic. So is there anything you kind of want to talk about that you're currently doing, obviously besides the upcoming DBZ stuff?
Oh, let's see. I'm doing Tenkai Nights, which is on Cartoon Network on Saturday mornings, catered towards the younger ones.
That's what Todd, right? Todd Abercrombie?
Yeah, he's in that. And Bryce Papenbrook and Ben Diskin.
Yeah.
It's a good show. Crispin Freeman's the bad guy.
I'm actually contemplating taking one of his courses, his online courses.
I saw a few episodes of that. Coming home from graveyard shift, be on when I get home. I'm like, oh, what's this? Anime, yay!
Yeah, we get to improvise a lot, and it's great. I play Commander Beeg on that. And, he works with the Tenkai Knights and fighting. It's like little chibi mecha type thing.
It's like Lego.
It's like Lego. So it's a hit toy series, toy line. So
toys are selling fairly well.
It's doing
Four
well.
little kids getting in robots saving the world.
Yeah. It's empowering, so it's cool. And Digimon Fusion on the CW, I voiced 2 of the main ones on that, Ballistamon and Darulamon.
Nice.
And new games in the pipeline, so whenever you follow my Twitter feed, I'll announce when something was new and ready to come out there.
Yeah. I do have to, I will say this, I am a Smodco listener, and I have heard you introduce a lot of their stuff, a lot of their productions, especially like Education and Hollywood Babylon and stuff like that.
Cool, thanks.
I mean, it was always kind of funny, especially, a lot of actors, especially when you want to do voiceover, you have to have a good ear. You have to train yourself to listen very well. And I've got to the point, and ask him, because he's lost bets to me about this, is I will pick out, I was like, oh, that's this guy. Like, classic example was Under the Red Hood. And it was John DiMaggio doing the Joker.
Right.
And I said, oh, that's John DiMaggio. And what did you say?
You think everyone is John DiMaggio, Brian.
Next thing you know, we looked it up, and someone had egg on their face.
He was a pretty good Joker in that.
It was.
Yeah.
It's just a short cameo, but people think, oh, it sounds too much like Bender, or it sounds too much like Marcus Phoenix or whatever. It's like, no, it's just...
We love
it's,
Bender.
Yeah.
And I love Marcus Phoenix. I'm a big Gears of War fan.
Bender is great.
Bender is
You
great.
can't go wrong. DiMaggio is one of the greats in animation voice work, and I hope to, I love voicing in games and anime, but my pipe dream is to do more domestic stuff and just sit there in the same room as like Tara Strong, Rob Paulson, Maurice LaMarche,
Exactly.
Billy West. And,
I think that's what almost every aspiring voiceover artist wants to do. I mean,
yeah.
One of the first people that influenced me to do voice work, obviously besides you, was Rob Paulson.
Yeah.
I grew up watching the Animaniacs and a lot of Steven Spielberg's presented cartoons. And I actually got to see Rob on Facebook. I messaged him and he added me and we occasionally talked, which was kind of
Yeah, that's great. He did that for me too.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, I look up at this guy. And in LA, it's great because he does his podcast live.
Talking Tunes.
Talking Tunes
Yeah.
podcast, which is just a master class in getting to know the world of cartoon voiceover. So you get to see, or hear rather, unless you go to the live show, you'll hear their stories about how they got started, and it's really cool. And like even doing like monster and creature sounds with D. Bradley Baker. That's
Yes.
that episode. Or the one I went to recently, Mark Hamill. Just before they announced that Luke was going to be in episode 7.
That's going to be
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, and then of course Disney announced, we're going to have standalone movies on the side, and and I think Gareth Edwards is directing one of them, and Josh Trank from Chronicles directing the other one.
That's epic. I'm so happy about that.
We're getting a Star Wars movie every year, starting 2015, I believe.
Mhm.
It's going to be amazing.
This will more than make up for the prequels.
And to be honest, when you mentioned D. Bradley Baker, I want to debunk some voiceover myths right now for y'all to know. A lot of people, including myself, worried when I started getting tech. It's like, oh, I started too late. I'm too old. I'm too old. I'm too old. D. Bradley Baker did not start voice acting until he was 30. You are not too old. Don't ever worry about that, because your voice is the last thing to go as you get old. And then, of course, there's the thing about, when you voice it, you just sit still and you do the voice like this. No, you have to get physical. I've seen behind-the-scenes recordings of D. Bradley, and, he will make the most twisted, gnarled faces I've ever seen a human being ever do, ever. So don't be afraid to get physical. I mean, directors, especially directors at Funimation, they love it when you get physical in your act, when you read your lines.
Yeah.
That's just something I always have to put out to everyone. It's like, don't be afraid to just mind the mic and get physical with it. I mean, like Michelle Rodriguez, when she did Eureka 7, she had to do a scene when her character was jogging along the track, and she literally jogged around the sound room and jogged in place while doing the line to give it that organic sense of, okay, this person's actually jogging, they're winded, and they're talking.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to have to wrap up for today.
All right.
They gave us the 5-minute call, so I think we're good here.
Cool.
It was awesome meeting you again. It was
Thank
a great
you.
follow-up. Definitely keep in touch.
All right. Yeah, thanks for the help.
Oh, yeah, no problem. This is Brian and Nick and Kyle at the MythWits, and have a good one.
You've just enjoyed the MythWits. Join us for a live broadcast next week and every week, Mondays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you miss our live show, you can always catch the encore episodes and the podcast version at our website and on iTunes. Make sure to check out our website at mythwits.com, and of course visit us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and iTunes. MythWits is a Studio187.com production and is protected under an attribution, non-commercial, no derivatives, Creative Commons work. You can download and share it with whoever you like. Just don't change it and don't try to make money with it. Make sure to check out Studio187.com for more cool stuff.